I know that I look like shit, but just when things happen, you process, and the process and the grief take a while because you'll be okay and then all of a sudden you get triggered. And I'm not really like the person that think that they'd cry and put it online, but one of my horses that we were doing our best with, trying to make her happy and comfortable, ended up having to be put down yesterday. And it was a fluke. She had a surgery. It went well. We were hopeful, always optimistic that we could make it work and that we could help this horse that been through a lot before we got her. And everything went fine. The surgery went good, but there was complications after, I guess, that caused her to get an injury and was unfixable. And it was a big enough deal that we had to euthanize her without saying bye, without with animals or horses, it's like there's so much more than just this thing that we use. It's such a relationship, and the horse that we got in our care really needed us, and we tried for a couple years to make her comfortable and to help her, and the surgery we did was kind of the final straw. It was the final piece to the puzzle. We thought it was like, we've done everything, we've taken it slow, we didn't want to rush it, so we just kind of progressed, and we went to the point where we knew she could be a winner, and we wanted to try everything, so we did the surgery, and she isn't going to be coming home. And it's just really hard because, all you can do is say that you tried your best and that you put the horse first, which it's just hard because it seemed like no one else did for her except for us. When I got her, she was in such bad shape and had so much issues, and I don't know. We just tried our best. And I mean, that's all we can say, is that we really did put the horse first. And we always should. Like, horses act in ways because of what they've been through. And if you get a horse that is a bit older, you don't know what they've been through with people. And some people are just so nasty and heartless when it comes to their horses. And this horse, I would tell her that she was so lucky to have us because we really did try and we cared, and we gave her every opportunity to get better. So if you're wondering what horse, it's the one gray mare called Miss Investigator. I've had her a bit over 2 years. She was 6 and broken when I got her, and she was gonna be 8 and doing good. She made so much progress and improvement, and we knew that there was even more that we could do. So she had kissing spine when I bought her. I didn't know that at the time. We did first back injections thinking that would help, as like a small intrusive type of injection throughout the back muscles to help soothe her muscles, to help hopefully release her spine. I did the groundwork, I did tons of rehab stuff, and she did make progress. Last year we decided during October or it was March, I think, before the show season started in March, we decided to do the ligament snip surgery for her. They don't take any bone out, they just help relieve the pressure of her spine, and that made a big difference. It really did help. She ran this past season on and off with me. She ran really good at rodeos. She tried always so hard. She wanted to do good, and she was riding through pain. Like, I know that now, and I know that some horses just hide it more. They're a lot tougher that way, and she was the one that was very tough. So it was always a battle of, do we keep getting her fitter? Is there something else we should do medically? Or do we just kind of keep on the path and keep doing what we can with the supplements and the therapies and the rehabbing and the proper work for her? And this past little while she's been off. I haven't been riding her. My mom has been, and my mom was hopeful that she could potentially be her next or her backup horse. But there was still some stuff. I knew she wasn't 100% yet. So the final step was going to be the other back surgery, which is where they go in and they take the bone out that is touching. And just for reference, this mare had 7 spots that were touching on her back. So you can just imagine what she was going through within her own body, as well as us trying to make her work and to kind of rehab her out of the pain she was in. So within the surgery, everything went okay. She said the surgery went fine. We dropped her off at the university clinic that they have in Ontario, and just thought we were gonna pick her up in a couple days. And I guess what happened is they did full like the general anesthesia, so she was knocked out. She wasn't standing, she was laying flat, which they recommended. And we said, of course, if you want her to, to be completely knocked out so she doesn't feel a single thing, because even if they're standing, they still might feel them being bugged on their back, and we didn't want any trauma anymore on her. Like, we didn't want her to feel a thing. Wanted her to just wake up and be more comfortable. And I guess when she was starting to wake up, she was still out of it a bit, I guess, and she struggled a little to try to get up. And she's the type of horse where if she's confined or feels trapped, she gets uncomfortable, and I do contribute that just to her discomfort she's been in all her life of the fight or flight. If she's uncomfortable, she's going to be worried and scared and try to run. And so I can see her kind of being like that. When she wakes up, she wants to get up and be safe and put herself in a safe position. And she, for whatever fluke reason, broke her hock in many places. She said, shattered it. There was no fixing it, and the only option was to put her down. And I was sitting here working when I got the call, and it's always, when the first thing the vet says is, I don't like making these phone calls, you're expecting something all of a sudden. And she said the surgery went well, but there's a but. And yeah. It's just the end of the story for her. And that's what's hard. The end of her story. Because we tried really hard. She's probably the only horse that we've had so far that we've put so much into. Just energy in general. Energy by all the means. Our financial energy, our emotional energy, our time energy. We gave it to her because she deserved it. And yeah. I guess it happens, but the thing is that, these horses are a lot more Anyways, I'll be okay. But it's hard, right? And you think of all the other people that have gone through similar things, just with having a horse you put so much into, and then something so weird and so fluky happens that you can't foresee. And I know we always try our best with where we're at. We do what we can, or we should, because the horses are counting on us. They rely on us, and it's our job really to have that priority and to be just responsible for their care. So that's what has happened with us, with our horses, as well as other stuff that's recently gone on. Just things that it's like, horses just really do test you. And some days, like me and my mom were saying at one of the show, we both had to scratch our horses because of things that have happened, like either at the show or my horse having like a respiratory infection that got worse and worse. And I was like, I can't run him. Like, I thought he was getting better, and then he wasn't. And I was like, okay. Dealing with a horse just coughing nonstop and trying to relieve them of their discomfort and trying to help. And eventually, you know, like, it needed time and some antibiotics and just meds to help soothe the symptoms. But yeah, so horses. The one thing though, like, I was talking to my mom, and we were both really invested, and we're both really heartbroken by what has happened. And she just also said, or I told her that, you know, like, we willingly open up our hearts to these things knowing that it can be taken away. And I, for one, always want to keep my heart open for the wonderful possibilities, even though I know it can be gone. So despite what happens, or despite the things you lose, you have to be willing to lose them in order to get them. And with Gray, we loved her and we cared for her so much, and we opened our hearts knowing that it can be gone. But that's kind of the gamble, and that's kind of the price of love, is knowing that you can also lose the love, or lose the thing that you love. So yeah, it's life, and it's, yeah, just the paradox of life, I guess. And you have to accept it and surrender to it. And so anyways, I'm going to go for a walk, and I don't know how to end this, but just thanks for watching, and hope you can get something from my story here, and just to always care for your horses, and always love them, always try to give them the best you can, because they're counting on us. So